Game week 3 already in the Premier League, and it's very much prediction time this Thursday. There were some huge results in game week 2. Wins for Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool late. Burnley and Brentford picked up their first points of the season as well. What is game week 2 going to throw up? And I expect it to be as exciting as game week 2. Guys, before I go into my predictions, can I ask a huge favour from you today? Can you smash a like on this video for me? Can you get yourselves into the comments? Let me know the predictions of your team. Let me know the predictions of all the results if you're brave enough. Make sure you're subscribing to the Footy Social Club as well. And if you're after something to keep you entertained over the weekend, let me draw your attention to those fixtures and programs on screen there. On YouTube Live on Saturday, we have got all the 3 p.m. games. Join Gaz, Matt and myself for that live from 2:30 UK time. On Sunday, we've got the watch along, the big one, Liverpool versus Arsenal. This feels like a 6-pointer already. We're live from 4 p.m. UK time for that one. And on Monday, we review all of the fixtures, giving you our opinions from game week 3. So make sure you join us for all of those. Come get in the comments and we'll see you for that one. Right, let's get into this game week 3. And up first, we have got Chelsea versus Fulham. It's a West London derby, and Chelsea were fantastic in game week 2, smashing West Ham 5-1. I was so impressed with the way Enzo Maresca's teams played, albeit that West Ham were poor, but Chelsea are starting to go places. Fulham, on the other hand, picked up a good point in their first game of the season against Brighton and an equally good point against Manchester United at Craven Cottage. Smith Rowe grabbing an equaliser there. Last time these two teams met, Fulham ran out winners 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. Munoz with a very late goal for the Cottagers. If you fancy that again, it's 5-1 for Fulham, 8-15 if you fancy Chelsea. Both teams to score 8-11. I've gone with João Pedro for me to be Chelsea's first goal scorer, and I am going with Chelsea 2, Fulham 1. Up next, we've got Manchester United versus Burnley. It has been a week to forget for Manchester United. Expected to beat Fulham in game week 2. Sesko's not off the score sheet yet either. They took a trip to Grimsby. League 2 Grimsby, 5 games, 3 wins, 2 draws. They're no pushovers, but the squad that Amorim put out, I expected Manchester United to win. And Mbeumo, Cunha and Sesko all featured, but it was 2 howlers from that man, Andre Onana, who I think has now played his last game for Manchester United. The question remains to be seen, is Amorim the man to lead Manchester United forward? Burnley, on the other hand, they'll be relieved. They picked up their first 3 points last time out at home to Sunderland. They are very much a different proposition on the road, though. Last time out, they did pick up a point at Old Trafford. Anthony, the man who looks set to join Real Betis, scored for United. If you fancy that again, 4-1 for Burnley to pick up a draw, 15-2 if you fancy the Clarets to win away, and 4-11 if you think Manchester United can get back to winning ways. United fans, I'd love to know if you think Amorim is the man. Cunha for me to be the first goal scorer in what I believe will be Manchester United 2, Burnley 0. Up next, we've got Sunderland versus Brentford. 3 points from 2 games is what Sunderland have so far. And they won last time out at the Stadium Light in match week 1, 3-0 against West Ham. The Black Cats fans will be vocal and very important in this game as well. Brentford won 1-0 at home to Aston Villa in game week 2 in what I considered to be a shock from the Bees. The last time these two met, back in 2018 in the Championship, Neil Mopai scored one of the 2 goals in a Brentford 2, Sunderland 0 win. If you fancy Brentford to do it again, 31-20, or Sunderland are 15-8. Both of these managers will earmark this as a place to go and get 3 points further in the Premier League. Isidore, for me, to grab the first goal. He's 7-1 in what I think will be Sunderland 1, Brentford 1. Up next, we've got Tottenham versus Bournemouth. Thomas the Frank engine continues to roll on. They were hugely impressive last time out as Tottenham beat Manchester City at the Etihad. Bournemouth, they got their season underway with 3 points and a 1-0 win over Wolves at the Vitality in game week 2. It took a late Son penalty in this fixture last season as Tottenham and Bournemouth drew 2-2. Both teams will be looking to do business in the window before it slams shut on the 1st of September. And I think if Thomas Frank wins this, he will be the August manager of the month. For Spurs to win, it's 8-11, Bournemouth is 7-2, and the draw, like last time, is 16-5. That man, Richarlison, who's been in fine form for Tottenham the start of this season, he looks to be Frank's number 9. I'm going with the Thomas the Frank engine to roll on 2-1 against Bournemouth. Up next, we've got Wolves versus Everton. Many of you, I think, will be going for the 9-4 draw in this one. Everton are better on the road than they are at home, and Wolves, well, they're better at home than they are on the road. Last time out, this was a 1-1 draw, and I fancy potentially Everton. We'll come to it, I should say, in a moment. But the big news will be for me that Strand Larsen won't play for Wolves. Newcastle expected to make a third bid for the Wolves striker. Remember, they only completed the permanent deal for him in July, 26 million, and it looks like to me that Newcastle will complete a deal for him for around 60 million. It's great business by Wolves, but it leaves them very short. Remember, they've lost Aït-Nouri and Cunha this season. Last weekend at the Hills Dickinson Stadium in Everton's first Premier League game at their new ground, the stadium was bouncing. They beat Brighton 2-0. Jack Grealish was excellent as well. And if you fancy Everton to win this weekend, it's 2-1. 6-4 if you fancy Wolves. And I'm going with Tyler Dibling to make his debut and score in what I think will be Wolves 0, Everton 1. Up next, it's the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday, Leeds versus Newcastle. Newcastle will take a lot of heart, even though they lost late on to Liverpool in Monday night's fixture under the lights at the St James's Park. I thought they were excellent considering they were down to 10 men for most of that game. Leeds, on the other hand, it's been a tough week. They lost in midweek in the League Cup to Sheffield Wednesday, a bit of a Yorkshire derby there. They were thumped 5-0 by Arsenal in game week 2 in the Premier League, and the pressure could mount very, very quickly on Daniel Farke if he's not careful. Last time out, this fixture finished 2-2, and Leeds fans, you may remember that man Big Sam was in charge of the Whites that day. There was a brace from Callum Wilson for Newcastle, how they'd like him now until the Alexander Isak situation is sorted out. If you fancy a draw in this one, 13-5, Leeds 5-2, and Newcastle 11-10. Osula for me is going to start now that Anthony Gordon is suspended, and I fancy Newcastle to have enough. Leeds 0, Newcastle 2. Up next, we've got Brighton versus Manchester City. An indifferent start for both teams so far in this season's Premier League. Brighton have picked up 1 point from 2 games and City 3 points from 2 games. They lost last time out to Tottenham. Brighton won this fixture last time 2-1 as well, and it's going to be interesting to see who Pep Guardiola plays in goal this time out. I'm not so sure, but we'll see. Donnarumma linked with Manchester City in this window as well. Maybe Ederson could play his last game for the club, linked with Galatasaray as well. James Trafford was a bag of nerves. Manchester City defensively were a bag of nerves in their loss to Tottenham last time out. I fancy City to be better on the road than they are at home for the early part of this season. And Brighton, well, they've got to start and pick up wins. Inconsistent at the start, a slow start from the Seagulls. I expected far better. 16-5 if you fancy Brighton to win at home. 29-10 for the draw, and City 3-1. I fancy Erling Haaland to get on the score sheet in this game in what I think will be Brighton 1, Manchester City 3. Up next, Forest versus West Ham. Both of these clubs have got storms surrounding them. The Forest one appears to be calming down. Nuno Espirito Santo is still very much the head coach of Nottingham Forest, and they picked up a very good 1-1 draw away to Crystal Palace in game week 2. For West Ham and Graham Potter, the season has been a disaster. They must spend big before the transfer window slams shut on September the 1st. They were thumped 5-1 by Chelsea last time out at home. They lost 3-0 in game week 1 away from home against Sunderland. This last time out, it was Forest 3, West Ham 0. Goals from Wood, Hudson-Odoi and Anya for Nottingham Forest. Forest to repeat that are 7-10. A draw is 14-5, and you can go as far as 17-4 if you fancy West Ham to somewhat get a win in this fixture. Remember, midweek they lost away at Wolves in the Cup. Jarrod Bowen confronting the fans, taking off the captain's armband as he stormed off the pitch following that confrontation. The pressure is on Graham Potter. And hopefully for Forest fans, Nuno Espirito Santo will stay at the club. I'm going with Chris Wood to score first, 7-2, in what I think will be a comfortable Forest 2, West Ham 0. Up next is the big one, Liverpool versus Arsenal at Anfield. And it's been dubbed a 6-pointer already. Arsenal have got a horrific record at Anfield. We don't win there very often, and generally Mo Salah rips us apart. Could this be the perfect time to play Liverpool? Defensively, they are not quite at it. Arsenal will go into the game without Ødegaard and Saka. There's more depth than there's been in previous seasons, and defensively, Arsenal look strong. No goals conceded so far, 6 goals scored, and at the time of recording this, they sit top of the Premier League. Last time out, this one finished 2-2. Liverpool were already champions and they raced into a very quick 2-0 lead. Arsenal pegging them back to draw this game 2-2. 23-20 if you fancy the Red Men to win at home, 5-2 for the draw, and 12-5 if you think Arsenal can win at Anfield. I've gone with Mo Salah to score first, 5-1 in what I think will be Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. Up next, we've got Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace in match 10 in game week 3 of the Premier League. Aston Villa have had an indifferent start under Unai Emery in this season's Premier League, picking up only 1 point from 2 games. They were very poor against Brentford last time out, losing 1-0, and only picked up a 0-0 draw at home to Newcastle in match week 1. Villa definitely need new recruits, but spending money looks to be difficult as the window edges closer to slamming shut. They've brought in Gessend, and he may play at home against Crystal Palace in this one. Palace themselves, they picked up a point at home against Forest last time out, on top of that point away at Chelsea in game week 1. Glasner's called for recruits. It's been a frustrating summer for the Austrian. Eze's gone and they're looking to spend. Jeremy Pino in from Villarreal is imminent. The tricky winger will add some real quality to that Palace midfield. Can they keep hold of the likes of Gahey and Wharton before the window closes? And who else may they bring in? The last time these two teams met, it was 2-2. Sarr and Watkins both getting on the score sheet. If you fancy that again, it's 13-5. 3-1 for a Palace upset. 10-11 if you fancy Aston Villa. I've gone with Ollie Watkins. He's their star man to be first goal scorer, 4-1 in what I think will be Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1. Let me know, guys, your thoughts of my predictions in the comments. Make sure you smash a like on this video. Make sure you're subscribing and make sure you're joining us on Saturday and Sunday for all of the live watch-alongs. Whatever you're doing, enjoy your weekend and I'll see you on the next one.